Robots stealing our jobs. And that's because a report this week from Goldman Sachs, as we and others have been reporting, claiming that 300 million jobs will be disrupted by artificial intelligence. Joining us on the line now to give us some perspective on this is an economist who spent years researching this issue. He is the president of Prestige Economics in the United States. He's the author of several books, including Jobs for Robots, Between Robocopalypse or Robotopia, and he joins us now live, not from the United States, but from South Africa. He is Jason Schenker. Jason, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Morning, Richard. Great to be here.
Appreciate your time. What was your reaction to this Goldman Sachs report, 300 million jobs under threat from AI?
Well, I think there's a difference between under threat and disrupted. Are these jobs all going to go away? Or is AI going to become an integral part of a lot of jobs? And I think it's maybe more that piece. And if we look at numbers around, say, Microsoft Excel or Word, there's up to 1 billion or so people who use that. If we had Google Sheets, it could be up to 2 billion. You could do all the math in the world by hand, but most people use spreadsheets when doing it. And in the future, a lot of the work you could do without AI, right? Hundreds of millions of people use things like Excel and Word in their day-to-day life, and hundreds of millions of people will need to use AI in their jobs going forward. Does it make them go away? I don't think so. Does it make their jobs change? Does it provide additional leverage for them? I think there's a big opportunity there for that.
I read the Goldman Sachs report, and they've got it's a sliding scale of to what extent will AI disrupt a lot of the tasks specifically within your work. And at the bottom of the scale at 1% was construction and maintenance. And at the top of the list was administration, closely followed by lawyers. 44% of tasks, the researchers at Goldman estimate, can be performed by AI. What was your reading of that?
Well, there's a few pieces here. Obviously, in-person physical tasks are going to be much more difficult to automate with AI. We are going to see more automation and robots and more automated equipment in physical industries. That will be where there's the disruption there. For administrative tasks, if we look back, say, data from the United States from the 1970s, the most common job by state was secretary, and that's not true anymore. That has a lot to do with things like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, the fact that you can be essentially your own secretary. Why? By sending your own emails. We don't use dictaphones anymore. And so looking forward at what administrative tasks we might delegate to AI, that's going to make us more productive. And what that really does is push people's productivity higher and really should be a warning to people that you need to be focused on the jobs that really only you can do. The highest dollar value activity you do could eventually be where you spend a lot more of your time.
Well, let's take yourself as an example, Jason. I was looking at your biography this morning. At the last count, I have 44 books that you've authored. Is that about right?
I think technically it's 36, depending on which ones I've also contributed to, which are above and beyond that. But the reality is, if we think about different books and things like that, I've written all those without AI. How might I think about it in the future? I haven't really thought too much about it, but I feel like for things like AI and the way that ChatGPT works, it's very good for things that are highly structured and are extremely repetitive. So if you're trying to think of a job description for a financial analyst, that's something that can be done very quickly, a job description. If you're looking to summarize a document very shortly, it can do that. But if you're looking for it to create something new, it will probably create something quite stale that doesn't really have any kind of anecdotes, humor, personal experience tied to it, and it may have inaccuracies as well. So there are a lot of different pieces where the human element adds big value, and that's where I think in my writing that's going to be an even bigger focus going forward.
And I know you do a lot of public speaking, radio interviews, TV interviews like this, but also speaking at conferences as well. You're in South Africa at the moment. But my sense is that no one's going to pay to have a robotic voice of Jason Schenker on stage at a conference in Johannesburg, where you are now, or Austin in Texas, or in Dubai, giving us 7 bullet points from Jason Schenker's latest book. They would want the real Jason Schenker live on stage. Am I just being old and naive?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Richard. We've seen this happen in other areas of the entertainment industry, shall we say, with musicians, for example, where today they don't make money on their records. They make money from the in-person experience, that people want to see them at their concerts, right? And the same thing's true with authors, lecturers, public speakers. They want to see you in person. They want that personal interaction. They don't just want, give me the 7 things that are the highlights of this book. They want to hear the anecdotes. They want it to be high energy. They want it to be exciting. They want to be interactive. They want to say that they saw it. I think those are going to continue to be really, really important. But of course, there probably are some people on the lecture circuit who maybe have a presentation here of the 7 topics of my book. Those folks might be in less demand now.
Finally, in terms of the big story of the day, you are an economist by trade, so can't let you go. We've in the Business Breakfast studio, and we've spoken to you many times over the years, we've got a question. Are we calling this a banking crisis at the moment, or is it just a couple of banks having a couple of issues? And we really struggled with that one, Jason. I'm sorry to throw you a curveball, but I'd love to get your thoughts on that with the likes of SVB and Credit Suisse.
Yeah, it's a very, very fair question, Richard. You know, we had SVB, Signature Bank, Silvergate shut down as well, and then Credit Suisse. There were also concerns over the last couple of weeks about Deutsche, about First Republic, PacWest. So there are concerns about lots of different banks. This discussion is ongoing. Almost every day there's regulatory statements or hints at additional regulation that are coming out of the United States. I think there are some genuine concerns around banking, but I think this is also tied to the inflation piece. Later today, we're going to get the U.S. PCE numbers out, and those inflation numbers are likely to show the Fed's going to have incentive to keep raising rates, which could keep the specter of banking issues still in play.
Jason, great talk to you. Appreciate your time this morning. Busy day for you in South Africa. Going to let you get back to that. That's the voice of the economist, Jason Schenker from Prestige Economics, and author of several books, including Jobs for Robots. It's the Business Breakfast.
Dubai Eye 103.8 is on air and on your smart device.
Never miss a story. Find